When Earth stopped belonging to humans, everything changed overnight. Cities collapsed, mountains twisted, and civilization became a graveyard. But the real nightmare was not just the disaster. It was the minor ecosystem waking up beneath humanity. The ground became a hunting zone for nightmare creatures. They were called extreme beasts, and they were terrifying. They did not just eat human bodies. They drained the very source of human life. So yeah, even dying got worse in this world. To survive, some humans escaped into the sky. They built a massive floating fortress called the lighthouse. Sounds hopeful, right? Except this lighthouse was also a giant prison. It protected humanity, but it also controlled humanity. On the lighthouse, people were split into classes. The upper citizens had names, power, and real futures. The dust folk had numbers, labor, and almost no dignity. They lived because the lighthouse still needed workers. When they died, they were just deleted from the system. Love, family, and personal feelings were treated like threats. Because emotions make people hesitate when survival gets ugly. So the lighthouse trusted rules, numbers, and cold discipline. But machines can live without feelings. Humans cannot. That is where Mark enters the story. Mark is the commander of the hunters. His squad goes down to the deadly surface for supplies. Every mission could easily become a one-way trip. To the lighthouse, hunters are heroes and tools. As long as they return, everyone else keeps breathing. But Mark is different from the other soldiers. He follows orders, but he still cares about people. And on the lighthouse, that is already dangerous. Because the system fears humans who still feel something. Then there is Ranbing, his trusted teammate. She's tough, calm, loyal, and always beside him. Their bond is quiet, but it feels painfully real. That is exactly why the lighthouse hates it. Once people love someone, they start questioning the rules. And once they question rules, control starts falling apart. So Linkage is not just about monsters. It is about survival versus humanity. The story begins with Mark leading another surface mission. The old world is nothing but ruins and silence. Every broken building feels like civilization's dead body. And every shadow could hide another extreme beast. One mistake could wipe out the entire squad. Meanwhile, the lighthouse waits for their supplies. The upper citizens wait for comfort. The dust folk wait for hope. But only the hunters actually walk into hell. The more we see, the uglier the lighthouse becomes. The dust folk want better lives, but the system traps them. The upper citizens enjoy privilege, but still live watched. And the Church of Light turns fear into obedience. That is where Charles becomes seriously dangerous. Charles looks calm, holy, and almost too reasonable. But he uses faith like a weapon. He knows people do not just fear monsters. They fear losing the last safe place they have. So he tells them the ground only means death. He tells them leaving the lighthouse means betrayal. And scared people start thanking the cage holding them. That is the darkest part of this story. The villain is not just some loud cartoon psycho. Charles understands fear better than almost anyone. And Mark threatens him without even trying. Mark has strength, respect, and real teammates. Every time he saves someone, he exposes the lie. He proves the lighthouse is not the only way. So their conflict is bigger than personal drama. Charles wants order built on fear. Mark wants survival without killing human feeling. Then 4068 makes the whole mess even worse. He is not born evil. He is a dustfolk crushed by the system. He wants power, recognition, and a real identity. Charles sees that hunger and uses it perfectly. He gives 4068 hope, but only as bait. And 4068 makes the choice that ruins everything. His betrayal is not just personal weakness. It is the tragedy the lighthouse created itself. Because when people are treated like dust for years, they may grab any chance to finally feel human. That betrayal pushes Mark straight into the abyss. He is badly wounded and his body begins changing. The hero of the lighthouse becomes its greatest fear. One day, he is everyone's symbol of hope. The next day, they want him erased. That is brutal, but painfully real. People love heroes while heroes stay useful. But once a hero becomes dangerous, love disappears fast. Mark's worst pain is not becoming a monster. It is being rejected by the humans he protected. And Ranbing makes that pain hit even harder. She does not back away when Mark falls apart. She still believes the man inside the nightmare. That is why her sacrifice hurts so much. Her death does not just break Mark's heart. It destroys his last warm connection to the lighthouse.
But
after that, the truth starts cracking open. The lighthouse is not pure hope. It is built on sacrifice, control, and buried humanity. City Lord Morgan understands the system is broken, but he still fears what happens if it collapses. So he keeps holding the old order together. And sometimes, maintaining a rotten system becomes cruelty. Charles is different. He does not just protect the system. He wants to own it. When chaos hits, he climbs straight toward power. He calls it faith, but it is control. He does not want to save humanity. He wants humanity kneeling under his story. Then Mark is finally pushed away from the lighthouse. The sky rejects him, and the ground opens up. The lighthouse taught everyone the surface only meant death. But Bai Yuekui proves that was never the full truth. She comes from the ground. She is calm, powerful, and surrounded by survivors. That means humanity has not only survived in the sky. There are other ways to live. And that information is deadly to the lighthouse. Because if people know the ground has survivors, the lighthouse stops looking like humanity's only hope. Bai Yuekui represents another version of civilization. One that still faces danger but keeps human connection alive. Then the story gets much bigger. This is no longer just about escaping one fortress. It becomes a question about humanity's future. What is the Mono ecosystem really becoming? Are extreme beasts just monsters or something deeper? Can humans only destroy them or must they understand them? Season 2 moves the story toward Dragonbone Village. Compared to the lighthouse, this place feels alive. It is still dangerous, messy, and far from perfect. But people argue, joke, work, and care about each other. That alone makes it feel more human. Mark enters this new world completely broken. He is no longer just a commander. He is no longer the hero everyone worshipped. He is a man questioning if he is still human. That is his real Season 2 journey. Not just getting stronger. Not just getting revenge. He must decide what kind of person he still is. Dragonbone Village does not instantly accept him either. Some fear him, and honestly, that makes sense. Mark carries the shadow of the beast inside him. But unlike the lighthouse, they do not reduce him instantly. They see more than one label. That difference matters. The village shows humanity does not need to abandon emotion. The lighthouse survives by cutting feelings away. Dragonbone Village survives by protecting human bonds. Neither side is perfect. But the contrast makes the question unavoidable. If survival costs your humanity, is it really survival? That is what Ling keeps asking. Mark stands between humans, monsters, and something beyond both.
But
he understands order because he came from the lighthouse. He understands cruelty because the lighthouse rejected him. And now he understands connection because the ground changed him. That makes him more than a soldier. It makes him a possible bridge to the future. Ranbing may be gone, but her meaning stays alive. She reminds Mark why feelings still matter. Without her, he might become pure rage. Because of her, he still clings to being human. That is the real fire inside this story. Not the weapons. Not the monsters. Not even the floating city. It is the stubborn idea that humanity needs feeling. The lighthouse can survive for a while without love. But it cannot build a real future that way. Ling is scary because the monsters are terrifying. But it is unforgettable because the humans are worse sometimes. The beasts drain life essence. The lighthouse drains dignity. One attacks from the outside. The other rots humanity from within. So the real fight is not just against monsters. It is against becoming monsters before the battle ends. That is why Mark's fall matters so much. He falls from the sky, but finally reaches the ground. He loses the person he loves. But that loss teaches him what humanity costs. The lighthouse looks closer to heaven, but it traps the soul. The ground looks like hell, but it still grows new hope. And that is the twisted beauty of Ling. It asks one brutal question again and again. Is being alive enough if you cannot live human? Because in this world, survival is not the final victory. Keeping your soul is.